Hey, what's up YouTube? This is the breakdown of the K24 E8. I'm just cleaning it up right now, but I'm just showing you a video of how I'm going to be breaking it down before I take it to the machine shop and everything. So I basically started with the crank pulley. They are kind of hard unless you have this tool right here. And it is possible to do it by yourself. You just need that. A little breaker bar. This breaker bar here also. And basically use the breaker bar leverage against this jack stand or the engine stand itself, and just I would try like some WD-40 or anything that'll help break the threads, and go from there. But it's a lot easier if you have somebody, if you're not experienced doing it. So if you don't be able to do it yourself, just have somebody help you hold the other side. So I'm gonna start breaking it down, and then we'll go through each breakdown and kind of explain what's going on. Alright, so next we're gonna start taking off all these little tins right here. These for the outer cover, and there's 3 at the bottom, and then the rest are just on at the side. And then we have the VDC sensor we have to take off as well, so I'm gonna knock that out first. Now that we got the bolts all off right here, now we can go to the valve cover. There's some more tins up here that we got to take off, and off the coil packs. Take those off and take the dipstick out, and then we should have exposure to the cam assembly, and we should be able to take off our side cover. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that next. Go from there. Alright, now we got the side cover off, got the valve cover, and I kind of want to show you what happens to these engines a lot. That I don't know if you can really see it, but this one is starting to get the cam galling on it. The cam is actually coming apart. So another thing I kind of wanted to get into why we're doing a K24, K20. As you can see, these only have 3 lobes all together. So that would be 1 intake and then 2 on the exhaust. On the real VTEC, it's 3 on the intake and then 3 on the exhaust. So later on in the video, we'll show you when I slap the head on how that's gonna be. So next is basically probably gonna disconnect the chain tensioner. That way you can free up the chain and then start disassembling the valve assembly. Those are all 12s. It's pretty simple. Make sure you do it in a cross pattern just to make sure everything just gets released. Comes up, so there's no binding or anything, you know, no problems. So let's go ahead and get to that. Alright, now that we got all our bolts out, now we could take our cam caps off and basically just kind of rock them back and forth, try to get a flat head in there, and basically that way we can be able to take the cams out and the bottom part of the rocker and cam assembly, and then that's where we'll expose the head studs. So I'll take these off real fast and then show you where the head studs are, and get ready to take that off. Alright, now that we got all the cam assembly done, now it's down to the head studs. There's at least 10 of them. They're all right here. It's better to use something torqued like this because they are going to be torqued down pretty good, probably at least around 70 pounds. So let's get these knocked out so we can take the cylinder head completely off. Alright, so after we got those head studs, those things freaking suck. Especially you don't have nobody holding the motor for you, but these are the pistons that you can't supposedly use because, as you can see, they kind of have a dome, which would most likely slap the piston against the valve. So as you can see, that's the comparison for that against this over here, which is the piston I'll be using. As you can see, it's basically just flat, so it's perfect as far as that. So right now I'm just gonna drain the oil and then get this oil pan off, and let's get the piston rings and crank out. Alright, so now we got our oil pan off, and this is basically the oil pump, your crank girdle, and we're basically not going to be using any of this stuff at all. the tensioner, so get ready to take all this off. You can use that tensioner guide, but you cannot use the tensioner and chain for the Type S oil pump conversion. So let's just take all these off. This is 4 bolts, 2 12s and 2 14s, and then you got 3 10s for the tensioner. So let's take that off. Alright, so now we got the oil pump and both of the girdles to the crank. This is a time to where you kind of want to just take out this little screw right here, oil jet, because you're going to block it off later when you put the Type S oil pump. So I kind of just drilled a drywall screw in there, and I mean, it was pretty easy. I mean, this one was already ready to come out. Kind of took it out before. It was kind of easy, so kind of just popped out. But yeah, so that's, take this out. You're not going to need it. You're going to block that hole, and like I said, I'll be showing you that when I put the Type S oil pump in and everything. So next we're gonna do is start taking off our rod bolts. Once we do that, and they're basically 10s, so we got 8 of those, or I mean, yeah, 8. So let's get going on those. And then we'll take basically this girdle, this crank girdle, completely off, and we'll be able to expose the crank. Alright, now it's time to take out the crank girdle. We got about 10, 14 bolts, and we got about, I don't know, 10 or 12 head bolts. So gonna take those off real quick and get to the crank. Alright, and this is it. Crank's basically ready to come out, and get ready to take the crank to the machine shop and the block, get it all resurfaced, get the head done, and I guess the next part will be basically look just like this but assembling it. And so that'll basically be it for this part of the video, so stay tuned for the next part.